Who is Abdul Carter? A projected top 3 player in the draft, Carter's claim to fame is his raw athleticism and speed, which he showcases here. Aligned on the outside, he will run a stunt blitz and end up cutting inside to actually do his rush, and that will be able to impact the quarterback's throw because he's so fast he can get there. Welcome back to the franchise tag scouting department. Today we're covering Abdul Carter, edge out of Penn State. Like usual, we will be starting with his pros, then his cons before we get into some film breakdowns, then finally ending with his scouting report card, a list of grades on him at various traits, and an overall grade as well. If you'd like to jump to any of these parts, timestamps will be down in the description. Making the move to the D-line after being an off-ball linebacker for the first 2 years of his college career, Carter catapulted himself up big boards thanks to his athleticism that translated over to edge in a big way. Diving into that linebacker history, Carter is extremely versatile. He can bluff blitzes and go and cover running backs and tight ends thanks to that elite linebacker speed, but he can also get a good usage in those stunt blitzes, speed that allows him to rush outside in. His linebacker history aids in his play recognition as well, as I feel he plays quarterback reads very well, along with adding quick recognition of screenplays. Coming off the edge, his speed rush is disruptive, and regardless of if he gets home, he moves the quarterbacks off of their spot and impacts the passes in that way. He isn't a one-trick pony either, which his speed could definitely enable him to be one, but he showcases a beautiful spin move, which I did not see fail once throughout the tape I watched, along with adding a chop move, which was reliable enough for me to consider it a positive. On bull rushes, his explosiveness off the snap gives him immediate leverage against tackles, hardly giving them time to finish their passing sets. Moving towards his cons, while explosive, his bull rush can be stopped by tackles with longer reach and stronger anchors. When that happens, he ends up running into a wall with a lack of an effective counter move to that. Despite the praise I gave him for his linebacker history helping his play recognition, that doesn't translate too well to run fakes. And along with that knock of play recognition, I feel that he doesn't recognize pulling blockers as well. His tackling isn't great either, whether it be on the open field or at the line of scrimmage. He can just slip off of opposing players more than you would want. That said, it's a short list of downsides, and he is just a one-year starter at edge, and he outplays that experience level by a lot. If you're enjoying the video, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be having 2 scouting reports dropping every week leading up to the draft, and we've got mock drafts and other content dropping weekly, so if any of that interests you, subscribe and stay tuned. Getting into the film, I'm starting off with a handful of plays that really showcase his speed rush ability, and starting with this one, he's definitely just going to kind of go right here, take off at the outside shoulder of this tackle here, and not give him a chance to really even get an anchor going. He's just going to get right around him, and he's going to impact the throw. Looking at this wider angle, we see him over here. He's going to just take off. We already saw the outcome, but I'm going to let it play once more. And with that tackle, you could see he didn't have the time, and he didn't get enough depth for Abdul Carter because he was only able to shove the one hand in on Abdul Carter's inside shoulder and not get much leverage from that inside shoulder. He still has his whole outside half of the body untouched, and he's able to use that continued leverage moving around this tackle because the tackle is not deep enough. He doesn't have good leverage on Abdul, and Abdul made sure of that using his speed getting to his outside shoulder, giving him a small landmark to try to hit as he moved around him. And so then that results in this tackle effectively just hanging on for hope. He gets it on his inside shoulder and he just holds on here as it goes. You know, takes him to the ground there, but it's an error throw. Getting into the next play, Abdul Carter here is going to be unblocked by this tackle. He's going to go ahead and look to take on, maybe more specific, this linebacker here. And Abdul is going to be, unblocked because he is the read on this play. So the quarterback here is going to head towards him, and this running back is going to move laterally with him because the quarterback needs to read Abdul Carter. Is Abdul going to full force come at the quarterback and take him down, or is Abdul going to come here and then kind of shuffle out this way as the running back moves that way to cover it? So that's the read the quarterback has to make here, is whether to shovel pass it or to keep it, and here's how it goes. As you saw there, he did sit. He didn't full force come flying at the quarterback. He sat because he was aware of this running back here, and he kept his eyes on the quarterback. He didn't just move his eyes off, so he was able to recognize, okay, this is the instance of when the quarterback is tucking it, and he's able to pursue the quarterback in that instance. Once again, showing it here, he stops and he's shuffling, but he doesn't move his eyes to watch the running back. He still is zoned in on Riley Leonard here, quarterback for Notre Dame. And he's keeping the shuffle stance, yes, and he's opening up this way because at the end of the day, he knows he's got help on the inside here. So if he pursues the quarterback, it's going to definitely go to this. But he's not looking here to, okay, I'm going to just watch you and shuffle with you and keep pace with you. He's watching the quarterback to know when the decision's made. And then when that decision is made, he plants his foot and he chases down for a tackle. He doesn't get the cleanest tackle here, but he also has help, as I mentioned. So they go ahead and they get him down. Then looking at this next play, we have another one akin to that first one I showed you. He's attacking the outside shoulder. Tackle is not going to get enough depth. Tackle's going to throw one arm out, get the outside shoulder, but it's not going to be enough. He's not going to get a sack on this one. He's not going to actually impact the quarterback by hitting him, but let's go ahead and see. All right, so right there we saw it ended in an interception, and watching it back here, that tight end, he gets his depth. He tried to get his shoulder right there, arm slipped across, and Abdul Carter hooks his arm underneath, so he has full leverage of the location of this tackle's arm because he hooks underneath there. And so with that full leverage, he's able to just kind of march right around him. Riley Leonard will step up into the pocket, but stepping up into the pocket leads to that error throw that was intercepted by the safety for Penn State. Getting to this next play, we have Abdul Carter up top with the same tackle matchup he's been with all game. Notre Dame's just on the other side because the field has flipped. And with this play, we are going to see this running back go ahead and throw a chip out on Abdul. And this is one of the spin moves that, while it's not his most effective that I saw on tape, it's definitely a very well timed, very well designed, I guess, on his part. Very good decision to do this spin move. And I'm going to let it play, and I'm going to show from the backside angle why I think that is. So right there's the spin, and then he moves laterally, and he ends up with that sack. So starting off here, as I said, we've got this running back going to come and throw a chip. And initially, Abdul Carter is fully attacking this outside shoulder like he has done all game. But this tackle's kind of wizened up by now. It's much later in the game that this clip is taken from than the prior ones. So he is going to immediately jump step backwards and to the side. So he's getting immediate leverage, trying to at least, that his outside shoulder isn't going to be a big window to attack. He's going to make sure he gets over, and this window that Abdul is trying to run into, including this outside shoulder, trying to power through that like he had in the earlier plays I showed. He is trying to move into that window and end up, more framed on with Abdul. And that's kind of going to be what ends up happening. But with this chip help, especially, Abdul is initiating his spin move here, basically. He's going to use the contact from the running back to initiate his spin. And I think that's part of the great decision making in using the spin here. He's utilizing the spin to minimize the momentum loss from this chip block from the running back here. So he's getting this chip block, but he's using it to then propel himself in a circle for the spin move. So when this tackle is trying to get hands-on, he's not having a clear look at, the front of Abdul Carter, where you see these guys, they try to get squared up with the people that they can grab at the front, like these guys over here. He is locked in, arms in his chest, and that's the game of playing offensive line. You want to get in their chest, and by utilizing the spin move after the hit, Abdul Carter is eliminating his chest for this tackle to have to grab onto. So he finishes, and right here, the tackle, he basically played patty cake with his back, and the tackle's, this arm is down. He doesn't have this arm on anything, and this arm, once again, one arm leverage on Abdul Carter. And Abdul Carter's hips are facing this way. He's facing this gap that was made because the tackle shifted over to close that outside arc that Abdul wanted to take. Abdul used his spin. He gets a good reset. He ends up with favorable leverage instead of the one arm, or two arms, I would say, that the tackle would like to have. He only has the one. And Abdul's hips are facing the pocket. He's facing the quarterback. He's not squared up against the tackle that he doesn't want to be. He has his hips and his motion moving towards and through the gap that was made by the tackle's decision to close the outside gap. And using this favorable leverage, he's going to continue to climb across this tackle and get to the quarterback on this play, resulting in the sack. All right, getting into his final look at his scouting report card, he's going to get an A in his versatility. As I said, he can align with that, quarterback read position. He can align off ball and end up blitzing and bringing extra pressure there, or he can actually play off ball. He can go into coverage. He can cover tight ends and running backs. And then along with his A in versatility, he gets an A in his speed rush and an A minus in his rush moves as a whole. As I said, he really does have a great spin move in my opinion. And it's a little bit held back. That A minus is held back by his B plus in bull rush, because I do feel that he does get stopped enough times on those bull rushes for it to not be in that A range. With what I would call an inconclusive chop move grade, he's sitting at A minus for his rush moves as a whole. He has a good package. He uses them well. In regards to his run defense, his poor tackling, and poor with quotes around it, poor I would say for a linebacker. I wouldn't say poor for an edge rusher. His poor tackling and his recognition of pulling blockers to kind of really be set up to fail easily on those plays where the offense has a pulling guard coming to block him. Those hurt his run defense grade, but with great recognition on quarterback reads and awareness on recognizing runs, that helps bump that up to a B. And that brings him to being an A minus overall player for me. I think that with just 1 year of edge production, edge, experience, it's a very high ceiling that could be set for him in development further in the league. And so, all of that considered, definitely a top prospect, top 5 easily in this class. And I really liked what I saw from him. With all of that said, if you enjoyed, leave a like. And if you want to catch more of my scouting reports, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell. We have them coming out weekly. I'm going to actually be upping them to nearly twice a week until the draft day. And kind of want to get as many out as I can there. Go ahead and drop a comment if there is anyone that you would like me to make a scouting report card on, or do a full scouting report video on as well. And I will go ahead and consider those. Just depends on availability of the film I could find for that player. But that, wraps up this one. Look forward to seeing you all next week.